Are you ready to go to the zoo? The San Diego Zoo, that is. Because they're presenting the animals. There's an animal right there. That's a hedgehog. Maybe we might get some more. So the San Diego Zoo presents the animals, some educational software for that ass on the Sega CD. The story begins in space. It's a true multimedia experience. By the software Toolworks. Are you ready for the animals? Can you really be ready for the animals? So, my understanding is that this was originally on PC and Mac, and then came to the Sega CD and the 3DO. And we're playing the Sega CD one, of course. So that's us. This guy. The manual says his name is Ping. And we're going to explore the zoo. Go to inside the zoo, or the islands, or to stories, or to research center, tropical rainforest. There's montane, grassland, and tundra, and tours. There's nursery. He can also leave the map to go to exit. You can go all over the screen. Just go back and search and library. All right, so where on the map do we want to go? Well, we start off on inside the zoo. We might as well start here. What's inside the zoo?
Barbara, how are you? Oh, you're so wide awake. Morning, Gordy. Well, I see you're stuck in your phone.
It's hours before the first visitors arrive.
You know how to read this morning?
A time for morning greetings and the day's first meal.
People look at these animals and they see an animal that sleeps up to 20 hours a day, and it's kind of difficult to recognize that an animal that sleeps that much can actually have a personality, but they really do. They're very unique
Hey.
too, and so they're really fast.
Oh, they're talking about that koala.
Actually marsupials rather than bears. A lot of times people call them bears. That probably originated because they look sort of like teddy bears.
Okay, that's the waking up at the zoo. Now what's this? Text items. You want to see some text items? Welcome to the San Diego Zoo and its sister facility, the San Diego Wild Animal Park. Explore places filled with a magnificent variety of exotic animals and plants. The world-famous San Diego Zoo has been delighting visitors since its founding in 1916, along with its sister facility, the San Diego Wild Animal Park, which opened in 1972 in the San Pasqual Valley, 35 miles north of the zoo. The zoo provides the most uncommon encounters to be found anywhere outside the wild. And if you can't make it to San Diego in person, get a taste of the sights and sounds of the zoo with the Inside the Zoo exhibit. Find out about the zoo's role in helping endangered species. Get a look at the zoo behind the scenes. Find out about the beginnings of the zoo, what the zoo is like today, and some of its plans for the future. Wander through this Inside the Zoo special exhibit. Wow, it's like I'm really there at the zoo. Here's a photo. There's that's flamingos. It's a photo of them. It's like I'm really there. There's people at that zoo. Mm-hmm. The animals are mingling. That says Wild Animal Park. They're not lying. It's a rainbow. It's pretty. What now up here? You can go back, jump to exhibit, search. What's jump? What's in the future for the zoo?
There's a lot of times I go through the zoo and a week will go by and I think to myself, you know, I haven't even noticed any animals around me because I don't pay attention to the animals as much.
Yeah?
Just as spectacular and exotic as the zoo's animals are its more than 7,000 species of plants collected from around the world since the zoo's earliest days.
During the 30s, Dr. Harry made, I think, 3 trips around the world and then a complete trip of South America. And he collected seeds on all of these trips and came back and brought them back to the zoo. A lot of these things wouldn't grow. Some of them didn't, but a lot of them did. So that's why we have the start of the botanical collection that's in the zoo.
That's an exciting story.
A copy is a rock outcropping. It's from the grass area of Central Africa. So there are certain animals that live in that type of environment. We've taken the same type of plant life that would be in that in a copy and adapted to this exhibit here.
Can you believe these guys paying attention to these plants, not even paying attention to me? Look at me.
The African
Look at them, gorgeous.
More and more zoo exhibits in the future will combine plants, mammals, birds, and reptiles in complete environments that replicate their native habitats.
Combining birds, lizards, mammals, and plants together as chimera. Won't you join us for a vision of the future? I like how that clip, I mean, I know it's a horticulturist. I do like how his clip started with, you know, I spend a week at the zoo and, I don't know, I don't even notice animals. I know it's supposed to be about plants, but anyway, those kids are looking at tiger vocabulary. They want to talk to the tiger. That's something. It's the African habitat. Mm-hmm. Well, that's the future. What about the zoo past? Oh, we don't get any video about this. Inside the zoo, meet Dr. Harry. Oh, there is video at the end. Usually it starts with it, but that's Dr. Harry. He's always watching us. Dr. Harry with cubs. Dr. Harry being attacked by a bird. Last known photo of Dr. Harry. That's a cheetah. Your cheetah heart. Is that like a pun on like your cheating heart? I guess. Some people, I don't know. Python. Oh, they're holding a python? I mean, it's the Sega CD. The color depth is not great. I guess that's what they're doing there. Bell Benchley. Here's a video.
It was the presence of these animals that first sparked the idea of a San Diego zoo. A collection left over from the 1916 World's Fair, the animals faced an uncertain future until the roar of a lion captured the attention and the imagination of a passing motorist, Dr. Harry Wegeforth.
He was going downtown with his brother Paul. My dad commented, he said, somebody ought to start a zoo. And Paul said, why don't you? And that was the gist of it.
And start a zoo he did. Dr. Harry, recognized today as one of the pioneers of the modern zoos in America, formed what is now the largest non-profit zoological society in the world and a zoological park that continues to enchant millions of visitors every year.
All right, so that's the beginning. That's Dr. Harry. He had the idea. Someone should take these animals and start a zoo, and so he did. What about zoo people? Many videos on this one. Yeah? Yeah, that was some zookeeping, all right. What about animal care in the zoo hospital?
The zoo's hospital complex houses the important work of a team of researchers, veterinarians, and animal keepers.
We have probably the most diverse, multi-talented program of any zoo in the world, bringing scientific disciplines to bear on the needs of these animals. I'm director of research in the Center of Reproduction of Endangered Species, which is the zoo's research department, which aims to get all the knowledge necessary to establish self-sustaining populations of endangered species in captivity, with the hope that ultimately we return some of these animals to the wild, provided there is a wild preserved habitat for them. We interact, of course, with the curators and with the clinical veterinarians. The curators will actually provide us access to the animals. If we're investigating infectious disease problems, the veterinarians are the first to bring these to our attention, and then also again provide us the sample materials necessary in the laboratory to identify the disease in question, which is causing a health problem.
What's the scenario going to be for the hospital? This one, we've got the springbuck to do first, then the muntjac, and then the pygmy chimps after that.
coming up after that.
Okay, and the deal with those guys is just regular processing because we want to give them their physical exams and TB test them and take some specimens for some investigative studies for mycobacterial infections.
These are lion-tailed macaques, which come from India, and it's one of the most endangered of the macaque species. There are probably only about 1,000 of them left in existence in the wild. There are several zoos that have them in captive breeding programs, and we're one of them, and I think we have one of the largest collections of any in captivity.
One lion-tailed macaque offers an inspiring example of human and animal determination.
Kim is 3 years old, and he has cerebral palsy. He lived with his mother for about 13 months, and then we had to separate him from his mom because she was nursing him, and her milk was no longer nutritious enough to sustain him. And we started hand feeding him, and we still do that. We hand feed him twice a day. He's doing quite well. During the time that we've been hand feeding him, he's gained about 3.5 pounds. In the wild, an animal like Kim, an animal diagnosed with cerebral palsy, would not survive. Kim cannot climb, and in the wild, these animals spend about 80% of their time in the trees. So just the fact that he couldn't climb would definitely have killed him. And we have physical therapists who come in and work with him. We also do exercises with him in an attempt to get him to move better. When we first pulled him away from his mom, he couldn't even use his back legs. He simply dragged them behind him. And now he can walk as well as run. So one of the things that we've done for Kim is we've built this special ramp in the cage. This ramp starts down at the bottom and goes up to the nest box, which is a sleeping area for the animals at night. And Kim now can climb up and sleep with the animals in the nest box. He gets along quite well socially in the group. I think on some level they sense that he has a handicap. The other animals respect him.
The other animals respect him. So as we've been watching this, something I'm sure you've noticed is that this is not a game. There's nothing to do really. And this does seem like software that you might, it's not surprising this would be on PC and Mac. Especially if, I don't know, maybe it gets bundled in like an educational software pack or something like that. Sega CD is a strange platform for this, isn't it? I also, it's hard to confirm this sort of information, but apparently the original retail price of this game was $40, which is a little cheaper than a brand new game would have cost at the time, but still feel like you might be a bit disappointed at what you're getting for your $40. Let's look at elephant pet. I mean, maybe elephant pedicure will save it.
You have to take care of their feet first and foremost. Captive elephants don't walk anywhere near as far as wild elephants, so they don't get the natural wear and tear on the feet. These are the nails of the elephant's rear feet, and the cuticles where the sweat glands are real important to keep them clean, not overgrown, and not dirty and not rotten, of course. Keep the nails high and keep them flat, clean. And trimming off some of the excess pad, it gets a few holes in it, and it starts to get debris build up there. So we trim it down so it's nice and flat.
He's scraping that foot. So, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I think context is important for something like this, because was this sold on store shelves? Like, if you went to a game store, would you see this? I don't remember ever seeing it. Probably not. Would you have bought it directly from the zoo? As like a souvenir? I'm not sure. What is the context that someone would have come into contact with the San Diego Zoo presents the animals on the Sega CD back then, in the 90s? Let's learn about gorilla memories.
My closest attachment has been with some of the gorillas and some of the orangs some time back. Alvila, the female that's over there now, I gave her her first bottle back in the 60s when she was born. After she was born, I went over to the children's zoo that night, and they had a little bit of liquid that wanted me to get down her. And she started to go to sleep. I'd pinch her foot just a little bit. She'd wake up and take a couple of drinks and go to sleep, and I worked through the night that way. And by the time the children's zoo person come in the next morning, she'd taken her fluid. Well, I kind of feel close to Alvila.
First one I saw when I started working here was his mother, and she was 2. I've waited 20 years for this. I think he's pretty good.
She's waited 20 years for this. Chimp tidbits. Give me them tidbits.
That's what we're here for, to make their day better. While we're here, we do the best we can to make it different and exciting and a nice place to be. What we've got here is holes drilled in the log, which they have to use their fingers or sticks to work on to get the sunflower seeds and raisins, which lengthens the time that it takes for them to eat their food. If they're eating, they're not bored. It's basically what these animals would be doing if they were in the wild, would be foraging, which is looking for food and eating. So this is just one way that we can come close to attempting to duplicate the situation as it would be for them if they were living in the wild.
The beginning of the game, when you're on the map, looks like there might be some sort of video game happening, right? Because it's like a pixel sprite map. And you have like a sprite-based character that we're controlling, can walk around the screen. But, 5, 15, 30, 40, 50, 65, 75, 90. Now we can search for things. You want to search for cobras? That's a photo. Watch out. Stand back. Baby snack. Let's see. The home, thick jungles, rice paddies, city parks and gardens in Central Asia, India, southern China, the Sunda Islands, and the Philippines. Status and wild not listed. Favorite foods, rats, mice, lizards, frogs, fish, and eggs. Well, if you ever wanted to know what to feed an Indian cobra, the San Diego Zoo presents the animals on the Sega CD has got you covered. Have you wondered how snake charmers get venomous Indian cobras to dance to the sound of a flute? The snake charmers are actually exploiting the snake's natural behavior. When annoyed, the snake will raise the front third of its body and open its hood. This is the striking position. Cobras do not actually dance, they are deaf and cannot hear music. As the snake charmer plays his flute or waves his hand, the snake becomes mesmerized by the motion and moves its body to follow the moving object. Many snake charmers defang cobras to make them harmless, but a cobra with fangs can kill a person with its poisonous bite. Many species of Indian cobra can spray venom at intruders. In the Far East, legend says the mark on the back of a cobra's hood is the fingerprint of Buddha, who blessed the snake after it shaded him with its hood while Buddha slept in the desert. That is a true fact and canon. What if we jump to an exhibit? Well, what if we go back? More items? Sure. Koalas? That's a koala. And polar bear weighing in. It's a cub. That's how much it weighs. I can't see how much it weighs because it's the Sega CD. Resolution's not high enough for that scale. Okay, back here. So, this pixel map looks pretty good. It makes it seem like there might be some kind of game here. And then there isn't. Islands. That might be islands. It's kind of hard to tell. Oh, there's sound. This is a photo with sound. And what's the globe? Mm-hmm. All right. Lava hills. Just kind of photos of some islands, I guess. I suppose. Tours. Nursery. So I get, is it the case then that each area, there's stories. We could see what the stories are. Captive breeding. Oh wait, I think maybe we're about to hear someone talk.
Like ice cream, most people love zoos. More people visit zoos annually than the combined total of those who attend all of the professional baseball, basketball, and football games that are played each year in the United States.
Fuck you, sports.
Zoos are more than places to enjoy and learn about wildlife.
Animals, bitches.
They're the last remaining homes for many endangered species. More and more natural habitat is disappearing because of increased human development and population. Zoos have become havens for wildlife that need a Noah's Ark to survive. The San Diego Zoo has developed a strategy to help save plants and animals from disappearing from the earth. By increasing the number of births of endangered species in captivity, a process called captive breeding, the zoo can then reintroduce some of them into the wild. The Arabian oryx is a good example of why captive breeding in zoos is so important. In the 1960s, this antelope became extinct in the wild. The last remaining 9 oryx were saved and eventually brought to the San Diego Wild Animal Park in the hope that one last effort might increase their numbers. Was the zoo's captive breeding program successful? More than 200 Arabian oryx have been born in captivity, and some of these have been reintroduced into their native Middle Eastern habitats. Several hundred more are living in zoos where they help educate people about the value of captive breeding. The Return of Przewalski's Horse would be an apt title for a successful movie about this horse, which became extinct in Mongolia in the 1960s. Since then, zoos have not only saved the Przewalski's horse from extinction, but also raised more than 30 young. 1,000 of them now live in zoos around the world. This story should soon have an even happier ending. When the total captive number in China reaches 80 animals, Przewalski's horse will be released into a large wildlife preserve located along the border between China and Mongolia. The California condor is a powerful, graceful bird with a wingspan of more than 10 feet when soaring. People used to be amazed at the great heights these birds attained. Now, people may again stand in awe as they watch the California condor fly in the wild, thanks to the massive effort to save them. In 1982, only 9 birds remained. Captive breeding efforts by the Los Angeles Zoo and the Zoological Society of San Diego have increased this rare bird's numbers to 64 today. When it was time to reintroduce the California condor into the wild, San Diego Zoo staff constructed a man-made cave that closely resembled the rock cavities condors live in on mountainsides. The California condor's new cave home was airlifted by helicopter to an ideal location. It was hoped that newly released captive birds would make this artificial cave their home, a safe base from which to become accustomed to their new surroundings. Success at last! In January 1992, an historic event happened. The place? California's Sespe Condor Sanctuary in Ventura County. The big event? The first release of captive-bred California condors back into their native range. The release of California condors into the wild was the result of a 10-year captive breeding program. This majestic bird again flies free, just as it has for hundreds of years, thanks to captive breeding.
And that's our story about captive breeding. Let's learn about feeding at the zoo.
Did you ever wonder what animals at the San Diego Zoo eat?
Every day of my life.
Same foods that we eat. For instance, like human babies, young animals are often fed special milk formulas and fruit sauces. Their favorites include applesauce and mashed bananas. Do some animals eat foods you wouldn't like? Probably. Bears, for example, are given cod liver oil, which is rich in vitamins. What do koalas eat in zoos? Leaves, but only those of a few species of eucalyptus trees from their native Australia. The zoo's horticultural department conducted a 2-year experiment to determine which species of eucalyptus was the healthiest for koalas and the best tasting. Then the trees were planted at the zoo. Now there's always an abundant supply of fresh leaves on hand. If you're lucky, you'll see the koalas eating the leaves one by one, but you're more likely to catch them sleeping, their favorite activity. Like most animals, koalas don't overeat, and they only eat the freshest leaves, rejecting the old ones.
They're snobbish that way.
In the wild, cheetahs chase down their food while running at speeds of more than 60 miles per hour. But since cheetahs can't hunt that way in captivity, zoos create an artificial situation that simulates conditions in the wild. In place of the live prey, like an antelope, that the cheetah would normally hunt, researchers place a food bait that moves. The movement stimulates the cheetah's hunting instinct, its appetite, and its feisty character. Cheetahs at the wild animal park are given food that resembles what they hunt in the wild. These carcasses are a challenge for the big cats because they exercise their jaws and teeth. Other fascinating animals to watch at feeding time are elephants. In the morning, they eat alfalfa-based pelts, which contain all the vitamins and minerals that elephants need to stay healthy. For lunch and dinner, they eat huge amounts of Sudanese hay. A full-grown adult may eat more than 300 pounds a day. They also eat browse, roughage trimmed from bushes around the zoo's grounds. Apples and carrots are a special treat, and sometimes in summer the keepers throw a watermelon into their ponds. As with people, good dental hygiene is recommended for elephants. Zookeepers check the elephant's teeth for infections and to see if they're growing in, moving forward, or falling out. When elephants go looking for food in the wild, their tusks sometimes come in handy for digging, pulling up tender roots, and stripping the bark off trees.
We don't have a photo of that, so here's some elephant
While we
butt.
enjoy watching the elephants, we shouldn't forget that they're threatened in the wild because of their valuable tusks. For years, people used elephant ivory to make piano keys, jewelry, sculpture, and other artifacts. It's now illegal to trade or sell ivory products in many countries, and new pianos are made with plastic keys. As a result, not as many elephants are being killed for their tusks. Wild elephant poaching, however, is still a problem. Worldwide, elephants are endangered because much of their habitat has been destroyed by human development. Their continued presence and the continued well-being of other animals on our planet will depend on people. We must preserve enough natural habitats for these unique wild animals to survive.
You know, when it said, do animals eat things that maybe you would find disgusting? I wasn't thinking about cod liver oil. You want to learn about giant panda visits? Sure you do.
High in the rugged Chonglai Mountains of central China, a young farm worker raced across the potato fields toward home. "I found a giant panda that is starving," she excitedly told her family and the other farm workers as she arrived at the village. The people knew they should help the suffering animal. This is because giant pandas are an unusual and rare species of bear living only in China's interior mountain ranges. Giant pandas are considered a national treasure of the People's Republic of China, and they are a critically endangered animal. Even one death would be a great loss to the species' survival. Immediately, the rescue began. The villagers dropped what they were doing and rushed to save the giant panda. They grabbed a large cage, some rope, and a long pole, then followed the young girl back across the fields and into a forest thick with towering fir, spruce, and maple trees. They crossed a raging stream and entered an area, Bassi Gully, that was covered with dying patches of bamboo as far as they could see. Near the bamboo and partly submerged in the stream lay a young giant panda. It was barely alive. The farm worker and the villagers quickly pulled the animal from the water. They dried it with their jackets. The dull eyes of the panda gazed up at the girl as it panted for breath. Several other rescuers lifted the panda into the cage. The long pole was tied to the top of the cage, making it easy for the villagers to carry the panda out of the forest. 2 men, one at each end, balanced the pole on their shoulders so that the caged panda dangled between them. Then they brought the panda back to their rescue station. There, the starving panda, a female that was named Bassi after the gully in which she was found, was nursed back to health. Bassi was starving because the bamboo was dying in various regions of China. Bamboo leaves, shoots, and stalks are the giant panda's main food. Although they will also eat meat, pandas are usually too slow to catch the rats, squirrels, and other small mammals that share their forest habitat. Like everything else, it is normal for bamboo to die, usually dying about every 40 to 100 years. Before it dies, the bamboo, which is really a woody grass, flowers. Then it drops seeds, so new bamboo can sprout. Several years must pass, though, before the seeds grow into tall new bamboo plants that the giant pandas can eat. Years ago, when the bamboo died in one area, the giant panda could travel easily to a different mountain to find more living bamboo. But now, new farms and villages often block their way, so many pandas simply starve to death in withered bamboo patches. Then, too, many forests and bamboo thickets have been destroyed to build these farms and villages. The villagers were pleased that they had saved Bassi's life. After she fully regained her strength at the giant panda rescue station, the Chinese government decided that she would not be returned to the wild. Instead, she would live at the Fuzhou Zoo. She and a male giant panda named Yan Yan were later chosen to go to the United States as goodwill ambassadors to help many people learn about the endangered status of the giant panda. The lucky zoo chosen to host Bassie and Yen Yen was the San Diego Zoo in California. When San Diego Zoo staff heard that the giant pandas were coming to visit, the excitement began. Giant pandas had never been in San Diego before. Indeed, a lot of people were thrilled that the world's most famous zoo would be the temporary home for a pair of one of the world's most popular animals. When the giant pandas arrived in San Diego, a lot of excited people greeted them. Even reporters and photographers were there. More than 50 waited eagerly as Bassie and Yen Yen arrived in a huge airplane after a 17-hour flight from China. Everyone waited breathlessly as the airplane's cargo hatch opened. Bassie and Yen Yen had traveled in their own private compartment, complete with heating and air conditioning. The photographers leapt off the bus and raced toward the jet. High above the clicking cameras sat Bassie and Yen Yen in their travel cages, peering down at the excited, grinning crowd. The giant pandas were here, at last. A few days after Bassie and Yen Yen arrived, zoo roosters crowed, peacocks cackled, kookaburras giggled, and a mist rose from the hippo's pond. People were already lining up at the main entrance to the zoo. Today was the first day for people to see the giant pandas. 800 special friends of the San Diego Zoo were invited to the celebration. With the sharp crack of a drum and the clanging of cymbals, a traditional Chinese lion dance began the festivities. Dancers in a colorful, shimmering lion costume swooped and swirled past the crowd. Young children joined the excited crowd, marching by, waving pink, blue, green, and yellow flags. Then, with 2 clangs of a Chinese gong, the bamboo curtains to the panda's enclosure were rolled up. A few moments later, out waddled Yen Yen. The crowd gasped at its first sight of this special animal. Yen Yen's keeper celebrated too, by giving Yen Yen a paw shake, and then she dropped a bunch of plump red grapes into his furry palm. Suddenly, Bassie made her first appearance. Her keeper, Cao Ling, handed Bassie a bouquet of colorful flowers, which Bassie accepted and then waved them to the crowd. Her next feat was to push a stroller across the floor. Bassie had trouble steering the stroller, so Cao Ling helped her guide it. Whenever Cao Ling spoke to Bassie, in Chinese of course, the trained panda knew just what to do. When Cao Ling handed Bassie a human baby doll, the panda cradled it in her arms and gently patted it on the back. People oohed and awed, and many people secretly hoped that Bassie would one day become a mother to a baby panda. Most certainly, Bassie would care for her own baby a bit differently. A giant panda is born blind and helpless. Its eyes are closed until it is 40 days old. Its pink body is covered with thin white hair that doesn't begin to thicken and turn black in parts until it is a week old. The newborn panda weighs about 4 ounces, the weight of a stick of butter, and it is 800 times smaller than its mother. To protect her infant and to keep it warm during its first month of life, the mother panda holds it in one furry paw, cradling it against her body. Her cub's loud cries are a signal that it is hungry. The mother holds her infant to her breast up to 14 times a day so it can suckle her milk. As the baby grows bigger and stronger, it nurses less often. The mother will leave an older cub alone in a den while she feeds on bamboo. By the time a cub is 7 months old, it has grown considerably and is about the size of the cub in this picture. Bassie and Yen Yen lived in separate areas in their exhibit at the San Diego Zoo. This was because giant pandas live by themselves in the wild. They are only together when they breed. Still, if the pandas felt friendly, they could rub noses or touch paws through the bars that divided them. Later, when they got to know each other better, they enjoyed playing with each other. People especially enjoyed these antics as prime-time entertainment. Bassie and Yen Yen were handled by their trainers for a very special reason. If they were used to people, then researchers could easily gather valuable information about them. Mr. Chen, the Fuzhou Zoo director, made house calls to the pandas' exhibits. During his examinations, he He gathered valuable data. He listened to the pandas' heartbeats, took their temperatures, and measured their blood pressures and breathing rates. He could even give the animals shots if they were sick or collect blood samples. The medical data Mr. Chen collected and the information he learned about the pandas would be helpful to other scientists who are trying to save the giant panda from extinction. Before waving goodbye to the zoo guests, Bassie entertained them with one more feat. She balanced on a teeter-board and caught colorful rings with her paws. With thundering applause from the crowd, the panda premiere and Bassie and Yan Yan's first performance ended. Bassie was then treated to a feast of bamboo and apples and was soon sound asleep.
Wow, that went on for a while. Maybe we don't need more stories in that case. Oops, hold on. That's okay. There we go. Back to the map. What else do we have? There was something here about tours. What are tours? Animals in disguise. Well, like Transformers. There's cat tour, critter covering, the factor fable, night animals, primate tour, the world biomes. Well, I guess I don't need to guess that people want to see cat tour. Is this the cat tour? This is one photo. Cat tour and introduction. There's a cat. Is this the tour? Cat tour, welcome. Okay, so we got some text. Are these all text entries? Is the cat tour just one photo and some text files? Are all the tours like that? Animals in disguise. Chameleon. Yeah, we have two photos. Here's a chameleon for you. Tiger. And text entries, I assume? Yes. That's disappointing. That's what the tours are. Was this the intro video for yeah, I remember seeing that shot. That's Waking Up. Gorilla Memories. Cub Care. Yeah, we see. Did we see these? We at least saw some of them anyway. What do we find on the tundra? That's tundra. That's where tundra is. Again, tundra. And Montaigne, what about that? That's the Montaigne biome. I guess this is just what, if we want to look at the biomes, this is just what it is. It's a few photos, and where would you find this on the map? And also some text entries. Taiga? I guess taiga is a biome. What was Research Center? The crest logo. Center for Reproduction of Endangered Species. The Zoo Mission.
It's a privilege to be able to have a part to play in preserving an animal as magnificent as the Przewalski horse, or as a tapir, or as a gorilla or orangutan, or almost any of the species you can see here at the zoo. These are part of the treasure of biological resources of our planet, and they've been on the verge of extinction, and now they're coming back. And the most fantastic thing would be able to participate in seeing that they go back into nature. That's really one of the big goals.
Without zoos and without game preserves, certain animals will disappear because I believe in some years to come they really won't be wild animals. They will be managed in some way or other. I like to be part of that.
The world to me would be a very, very lonely place if we were the only species inhabiting it. And at the rate of extinction of species, which is about one a day right now, and by the year 2000, maybe one a minute, and those are rather accurate projections, we might be the last species, and indeed then we may ourselves be in jeopardy as our habitats become so imperiled by human activity.
We have a tremendous opportunity to allow people to see the diversity, the wonders of different types of life that exist on this planet, and thereby we hope to let them come to appreciate this more and to participate more actively in saving the wildlife, saving the forms of plants and animals that are in danger on our planet.
A powerful message from the San Diego Zoo. How can the San Diego Zoo present the animals when all of the animals are extinct? It makes you think. But I don't know how much we'll actually have to think about where this will go on the list. I don't think there's really anything else to this. Like, we could look around for more videos or, watch some stories. Well, listen to some stories. But I don't know if there's really any other elements to the game. You can look at the manual. Here it is. The San Diego Zoo presents ... The Animals. A true multimedia experience. Well, I mean, by multimedia, there are multiple medias, yeah. There's like video, there's pictures, there's audio, there's text. Sure, there's multiple medias. The software tool works CD-ROM. It's appropriate for all audiences. That's the title screen. Welcome to the San Diego Zoo presents The Animals. Discover the liveliest collection of animal sights, sounds, and statistics ever to appear on a computer screen. You would not be seeing this on a computer screen. This would be a television. The technical wizardry of Sega CD brings the mammals, birds, and reptiles of the world-famous San Diego Zoo right into your home. The Animals is a sneak preview of the San Diego Zoo's long-range plans. The idea is to group animals by natural habitats called biomes, also called a bioclimatic zone. A biome is a combination of biological, geographical, and climate features. Biome organization of the zoo helps emphasize three important issues in the world today. All life is connected, people affect habitats, many species are endangered. Just like the real zoo, The Animals is full of wonderful animal exhibits. The difference is that each exhibit is a media event. Photos, movies, stories, and text. Feel free to wander the zoo and explore exhibits any way you like. Or you can take one of the guided tours, such as Animals in Disguise, which takes you on a specific path through the zoo. Now, I mean, if there was actually a physical zoo we could go through in the game, I think that would come off better. That's not really what's happening here. Like, it makes it sound like you're traveling through a zoo, but I mean, it's really not. Let's see, the main features. Explore the animals in these wonderful ways. Biome exhibits, get to know the world's 10 major bioclimatic zones and the animals that live in them. An introduction describes the biome, the balance between plants and animals, and man's impact on that biome in different countries around the world. Successive exhibits show animals native to the biome. You can enter biomes from the main menu map. Animal exhibits. Within the biomes, learn about animals through video clips, animal sounds, narration, beautiful photos from the media library. Explore a species and learn about its problems in the world today. Special exhibits. Discover the joys of special places at the zoo. Take your trip to inside the zoo, kids, stories, nursery, zoo garden, and the research center. Guided tours. Visit related exhibits of special interest such as Animals in Disguise, Fact or Fable, and Jaws, Claws, and Creature Features by choosing tours from the main menu map. Each tour is narrated by a guide, such as a curator, zookeeper, or wildlife expert. Your guide is very patient, can jump on and off tours at any time. Stories, read and hear about animal adventures. Multimedia extras, more than an hour of award-winning video with synchronized sound, 2.5 hours of additional sounds and narration, over 1,300 color photographs, 1,000 plus pages of text, plus search, media library, jump to exhibit options everywhere. I like that it says synchronized sound. That's an advancement. The sound is synchronized to the video. That's correct. The Animals was designed to make it fun and easy for you to learn about animals with your Sega CD system. That's how you start it up. Control pad. This section presents all the places, features, and functions in the Animals. The main menu map. Different landscapes on the map represent the biomes, the nursery, the zoo garden. Move ping to any of these places. Many of the tools you use to find your way through the animals appear at the top of the screen, the navigation palette. Return to main menu takes you back to main menu. Go back takes you to last screen. Jump to exhibit lets you choose from a list of exhibits. Search opens an alphabetical list of animals. Library takes you to media library. Most of the exhibits focus on a particular theme. For example, if you choose islands, you explore exhibits presenting different animals that live on islands. Navigate from one exhibit to the next within any biome tour of the location. Walk ping off to the right or left side of the screen to view exhibits in order. Or use jump to exhibit. You're free to explore any of the text, maps, pictures, sounds, movies, stories presented at that exhibit. Type of media you select determines the controls available to you. The media library, you can view all media events, including text, pictures, sounds, movies, maps, and stories. Think of it as an index to the animals. Tours. Story menu. Stories are one of the animals' most popular attractions. Selecting stories on the main menu map takes you to the story menu. The same stories you will find sprinkled among various exhibits. The story menu lets us access any story without having to search for it in the exhibits. Okay, so if you were going like exhibit through exhibit, you would find these stories peppered out, but you don't want to do that. You want all the stories in one place. Search function, technical support, keep your disk clean. Many blank pages for your notes about the animals. Then there's the Mega Race and the Software Toolworks Star Wars Chess. Those will be, I guess, those will be games we'll be getting to at another time. Okay, that's the manual. What do we think of the San Diego Zoo presents the animals? Well, I mean, think first of all, we're like scrolling this down, aren't we? Yeah, we're scrolling this down. Okay, so it's not a video game. The best thing I can say is there's some nice sprite work for that map that you can walk on. Everything seems very organized for you to find information about the animals. if that's what you want to do. It's really more of like an encyclopedia more than anything else. The packaging in the manual really doesn't make it sound like that. You know, it makes it sound like there's like more of an interactive experience here, and that's just not what I'm perceiving. Like there are animal facts. The stories are nice, I guess. You have someone telling you a story about animals, and you have photos accompanying them. That's all right. But the photos are very low quality, as well as the FMV. And that's something that, we run into constantly on the Sega CD. Something I'll always bring up when we have FMV is, well, the color depth is really too low for this kind of thing. And that's just really emphasized here in the animals. When they say, here's a photo of a chameleon, and the photo looks terrible because it's low resolution and it's barely any colors. This was originally on PC and Mac. They would have been able to display it in higher colors, higher resolution. This is really a bad platform for this. Which is why it's frustrating that you did have some publishers putting this sort of video content, or in this case, photo content, on the platform. It's funny because the Sega CD kind of has the opposite problem of the CDI. Where so what we were looking at tonight with the San Diego Zoo, this is the kind of thing that would have been on the CDI. It wasn't. This was on the 3DO. It didn't get a CDI port. But this is the kind of software you would have on that. Because the CDI was a system that was made for this sort of interactive multimedia. And this was the thing it was good at. The thing that the CDI was bad at was games. It was not made for video games. It was made for this. The Sega CD has the opposite problem in that it's a capable game machine, but there were some publishers who just wanted to try putting this sort of interactive multimedia experience on it, and it just doesn't work. It's it's poor at that because of mainly the color depth. I'm sure the color depth was fine for Sega back when they designed the Genesis. I'm sure it seemed like that would have been enough at that point in time. But of course, when they were designing that, they'd never intended the Genesis to be displaying photographs or full motion video. And it's just a poor fit anytime we see it happen. And especially in this thing. So if you wanted to get some animal facts, hey, you can get some in this if you're interested in that. I would have preferred it if this was some sort of more structured video game. But that's not what they were making, My expectation, the Sega CD is a video game system. I would want to see a video game. That's not what they were making here. Like, as far as what is the context that you would be seeing this, it would make more sense to see this on a Windows PC. I was reading some facts about the game, and apparently this was a common pack-in with, like, a Packard Bell CD-ROM PC. And yeah, that's exactly the context that I can see you coming into contact with this thing. That's where you should be seeing it. You should not be getting this for $40 on the Sega CD. It doesn't make sense for it to be in this context. So, I guess the main question is the San Diego Zoo Presents The Animals better or worse than Make My Video? So I had more entertainment with the story about the pandas than anything from Make My Video, so I can't say it's worse than that. I mean, I guess Make My Video is more of a game. Barely, in that there is something interactive, but the animals has the benefit of having animals and having some stories about animals. So sure, tell me about how you have to feed the cheetahs in the zoo and their specific needs. How you have to give them carcasses like they would encounter in the wild, so they have a challenge to try to eat it. Yeah, sure. Tell me about that. That's more interesting than anything in the Make My Video games. It's at least better than that. But is it better than Racing Aces? No. Racing Aces had stuff going on. Racing Aces is so low just because the performance was so bad. Like if the frame rate was better on Racing Aces, that would have been higher up. It had to be that low due to the incredibly bad frame rate. So again, this is not the context that you should be seeing this software, because it is software, not a game. The Sega CD is absolutely not how you should be encountering this. But since we are encountering it on the Sega CD, we do have to list it among the games of the Sega CD. And it's at least not as bad as Make My Video. But yeah, there we go. It's the second worst so far. San Diego present. There's a question mark. It does. I put an ellipses. That's what it looks like on the box. The San Diego presents ... the animals. Does it not? Why would it not recognize ... That's odd. Well, for whatever reason, that's what it looks like. And maybe I'll find a way to figure out how to fix that. But that's where that is on the list. 31. At the very least, it's a better experience than the Make My Video games. I would have liked it if the San Diego Zoo's video game entry on the Sega CD was something better, something that would have been worth playing. It is not. So, there we go. I hope you feel educated. There is education to be found, but I mean, not much, and not in a very appealing format.